Greetings, scale modelers, and welcome to another quick and dirty build and review. Today's episode is Monogram's 48 scale P-38 Lightning. This is a classic. The first version of this came out in 1966, and according to ScaleMates, the version that I'm working on, it's out from the late 70s, and it came out in a few different box versions. And this airplane served in the Pacific with distinction. P-38s took down Yamamoto. Richard Bong, he flew a P-38, got a lot of kills, and this plane served with distinction in the European theater against the Luftwaffe as well. So this is a classic. There's a lot of parts, a lot of options, hopefully a lot of fun. Let's get into this thing and see what it's all about. All right, I have an informal count of 107 parts, and there are canopy options and extra glass for the reconnaissance version. And this is a classic vintage decal sheet if I ever saw one. So let's see how this one turns out. If they disintegrate, I'll have to order a custom set, which I would enjoy doing. I'll probably get the Richard Bong P-38. And let's get this thing put together. As you can tell, I've been having fun just painting the individual pieces, and because that was something that I could do for about 15 minutes at a time. But it's getting to the point where I need to start putting this thing together for real. So time to go. I was cleaning my workspace in the office, and I accidentally threw away my 1977 Monogram instruction sheet. And luckily, ScaleMates.com had a PDF of the original 1966 instruction sheet, and things are going along pretty well with that. All right, I'm back to the armament doors. The first side of the hinge dried well enough that I attached the other side of the hinge, and hopefully those will open in case I decide in the future to do a diorama. All right, there are two well-marked holes for doing the rocket. So you're gonna need to drill those out. Style points for marking them instead of making you freaking guess. I mean, they actually tell you, hey, drill your holes here. I love it. The wing halves are now glued together, and that front landing gear, I'm not sure I got that right. I think the plane might be sitting low on the nose from the way my landing gear looks compared to the way Monogram's landing gear looks. But we'll see about that. I think I have everything in the right place, and it is fitting together well, but now I just gotta stop touching the thing and let it dry for a couple of hours. And I did get the little ladder to fit into the back, so that's a nice fancy little touch. And check out my lights. Sharp. Okay, the wing halves came together really pretty well. I would expect a little more finicky fit for something this old. And I think this is the late 70s that this one was molded. And I tell you what, with the booms, I just got the booms on. This one was a pain in the ass. And in fact, I mean, you know, having it need to take a few tries, and you know, the halves of the boom broke, and so I had to reset that and then get it on there. But to tell you the truth, that's kind of what I expect from a model like a P-38, because it's a little more complicated than the other ones. But on the other hand, the starboard side boom went on in the first try, and the parts just kind of glided together effortlessly. And I'm using this kind of cement, to me, standard viscosity. And once again, I need to let this thing sit by itself and let everything firm up before I start working on this canopy. So this one was difficult, awkward, but that's usually what my experience is. And this one was surprisingly easy. So So far, so good. This P-38 is gorgeous, and the way it's coming together, it's been a lot of fun. All right, scale modelers, part of the fun of 1970s Monogram is that you got to use a hot, flat hobby knife to do the wheels properly. They don't pop on. What you do is they give you a long axle and then you flare it off with a hot X-Acto knife, such as I am doing at this time. All right, well, that one came apart, so that one I'm gonna have to do later. But let's do this. All right, that one doesn't want to go on. Okay, there we go. Let's get that butter knife warmed up. All right, that one's flared. All right, just gonna drill that out a little bit. See if I can get that to go on. All right, that one goes on. All right, so both of the back wheels are about to be installed. Oh yeah. That one's flared. Okay, well, I got to repair the front wheel, but that's how you do it old school. Time to do the landing gear doors. And I drilled the wings for the rocket racks. So we'll set this baby up for some ground attack. I think that'll be a fun way to go. And I can hang external fuel here, which I may also do. Get this thing pretty decorated. Ready to fight. Time. Okay. I'm starting to like this cement more than I used to. The landing gear doors, they have dried within, I don't know, say 20 minutes. And with one of these, I did do the clothespin trick, where you pinch it closed and then you open it up and then it gives the landing gear door something to lean against. But the other two just naturally stayed in the proper position, and they're still in that. So the gear doors are easier than a lot of models I've done that just, you know, didn't work out so easy. For another episode of Canopy Corner. This is a multi-piece canopy on the P-38. And I did Tamiya gloss aluminum on the plane, and then the paint ran out, and now I'm using a metallic silver. And I just got one minor leak on the side windows, and there are two X-shaped crossbars on the side windows, and I'm going to use a paint pen to do those instead of trying to mask and spray it with a rattle can. So that's how I'm playing the side windows. And the rear canopy has a couple of really good looking crossbars, very much like the FW190 does. That's like a center seam where two longitudinal metal pieces go. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that came off. And as usual, I didn't wait long enough for the silver paint to dry. And so there is tacky silver paint sticking to my hands right now. So if I touch the wrong surface, I'm going to be smudged. But that front canopy so far is looking good. And I think at this point, I'm going to quit while I'm ahead and not smudge unwanted surfaces. Revisiting my canopy hinge assembly. The hinge works. It's a bit on the delicate side, but all of this stuff usually is. So it's not like a load-bearing part or anything like that. And so that one I felt like it was kind of tricky, and it turned out okay. I did get the hinged part of the canopy to function properly, and I'm freehanding it with this metallic paint marker. If you'd like to know what I'm using, it is Posca. And now for the conclusion of Canopy Corner. I used paint marker, metallic silver, to finish those cute little side windows with the crossbars on them. And front part came out well. I just followed the Monogram box, and my hinged middle canopy assembly has worked, and I did this section, the movable section of that, with the paint marker once again. So this is a pretty successful canopy job, and I haven't smudged glue on any of these surfaces yet, but I still gotta glue it on, and that's when it happens. That's the moment of truth. So another successful edition of Canopy Corner so far. These rocket racks are looking so beautiful. It reminds me of a song. You are so beautiful to me. There have been times when I needed to hold up a part, and oddly enough, just like a little scrap of paper does the job. I think this might be a counterweight that's on the horizontal, on the elevator. And yeah, just tucking a little piece of paper under that. Nothing complicated. Next time, try that. That might work for you. This one has gotten me through some situations. I'm a big fan of Max's Models on YouTube, and as a scale modeler, I think you should subscribe to Max's Models. He does live streams on Saturday nights. They're a lot of fun. He's a terrific guy, and you send him photos of your builds, he'll put them in a viewer's builds video like I'm watching right now. Max's Models. He's a great guy. Just want to show you my highly scientific techniques for getting the ordnance on straight. Got some clothespins, got some clamps, all supporting the ordnance in a nearly upright position. So if this can help your efforts, then I like it. Look at all that beautiful ordnance. The enemy is in for it. That I know. I have done 2 of these 1979 decals. There's a little tiny one by the pitot tube for the aileron push-pull, and for the star and bar on the under wing. And these were easier to work than most new decals. I mean, they were ready to work in about 30 seconds of soaking. So the old decals are working very well. We got some different nose art options here. There is Night Lightning. That's not ringing a bell. Mary. That's my late mother's name. She was batshit crazy. She liked inflicting pain on others. That's actually a pretty good nickname for a warplane. But Jeannie. Now, Jeannie was a reliable bookkeeper in my life. That's worth naming a plane after. A bookkeeper you can trust. Jeannie it is. With Psycho Batshit Mary coming in a close second. All right, so here's my remedial fill-in paint job with the Revell acrylic. Looking pretty good. I probably need a second coat, so I'll come back to this in about an hour or 2. Have you ever just laid on an extra coat of paint just because you're having fun doing it? That's exactly what I'm doing right now. I mean, the first coat covered just fine, but hell, I just feel like fucking painting some more. Have you ever done that just because you want to do it? It's part of the magic of modeling, I believe. The second coat's looking pretty good. Holy crap, look at this masking and brush painting artistry. Pardon my French, but this is so fucking beautiful I could fucking shit. This is so fucking good. This is the first time I've ever had the paint fucking leak through the tape, and it looks right on the first shot. Holy freaking. I'm now at the point, well, I departed from my usual protocol and I read the directions before starting to do this, and it said, while the cement is still wet on having the gun assembly in the nose, get the nose cone glued on along with the compartment door. So this could be a Chinese fire drill where you move one part out of place and you got to redo the whole thing. But I got to start somewhere here, so I'm going to take a stab at this and see how it goes. It took a fair amount of wiggling and retrying to get that nose to connect, but it has connected. And now it is time for the compartment door to go on, and it does hinge. And so you got to remember to just do the starboard side of that, and not both sides. So that if you would like it to, if you want to see the inside of the guns, which in my case I'm going to try to do it that way. Only do one side so you can open up that side compartment. Update on the door. Now, as beautiful as my detailing is on this, the way this fits, and I really expected fit issues, and I expected more than I'm getting. I mean, okay, the boom over here, this thing, it was a pain in the ass, but I expect like 2 or 3 pain in the asses from an old model. But this one, I'm just making an executive decision, and I'm going to cement the whole damn thing down so that it almost fits. So there's a little bit of a fit issue here, but we're talking about a pretty old model here that has been sitting God knows where in storage, and something's going to warp, and I'm surprised that it fits together as well as it does, and I'm amazed that the decals are 100% terrific. So for something from 1979, I really don't have any complaints, but I did have fun detailing the machine guns, but I'm cementing the whole thing down it'll look better that way. I really wish I would have set a stopwatch, because there are 12 decals you got to get on the 2 propellers, and these are going on so easy, and I'm having so much fun with it. I wish I would have made a race out of it, but I've only got 3 decals left to go, and it looks kind of complicated, but it's been very easy to do and a lot of fun. The monogram instructions for the Superchargers, that's the doohickey thing right there and right there. I'm looking on these other sites, and they're not quite ugly enough. I did olive drab. The instructions say olive drab, and I did do the dry brush silver treatment, but just to make it uglier, I'm going to do some streaking rust effect to add additional ugliness, which I'm going to say ugliness equals realism in this point, that it got flown around a little bit. And I think Supercharger is where Charles Lindbergh was out as a field consultant in the Pacific Theater and helped our flyers get extra range out of the airplane. And like most badasses, and Ernest Hemingway is also in this category, he found a way to sneak himself into some combat in World War II, even though he was expressly not supposed to do that. But I think he sneaked himself into some missions so that he could get some of that action. And anyway, the Superchargers, I got to add some ugly rust on this to ugly that up. All right, canopy time. I just glued down, made the final commitment to the front and back halves of the canopy, and the hinge assembly is working as Monogram intended back in 1966. So that part's great. This opens up a whole new day in scale modeling for me, folks. If I can do this tricky canopy, and I still have to get the side windows right. I did the paint job right, but I still have to get them glued in correctly. But if I can do this tricky one, I'm ready for the Arado 234 masking job, and I might also be ready for a B29, and I might be ready for like a large scale B25 where it's too big to hide any mistakes. And if I can get like a 132 or 148 B25 canopy done and it still looks good the way this one's coming along, the sky's the limit, people. That's why I like building aircraft. The sky's the limit. The canopy fit is pretty darn good, but I did screw up by not putting the pilot in before I did the canopy. So only a few of my models have pilot figures in them, and I do like using them when I have them. But I goofed this one up, and there's just no way he's going in there, even if I cut his legs off, which is pretty insensitive to do. So I don't think I'm going to do that to a fellow American. And the side windows looking pretty darn good. And the hinge, look at that. I love it when things come together. One thing with aircraft decals that I always have to remind myself to do, you can't always follow the rivet lines on the plane when you're doing the side decals. You want to check to make sure that in the sitting position, your decal is parallel to the ground, not along with the rivet lines of the plane. Always make sure that when the decal is applied, that it looks like it is straight with relative to the ground, not to the line of the aircraft. The 1979 Monogram P-38 Lightning, minor fit issues. The decals are superb. The instructions were terrific. Well, the 1966 ones were, because like I told you, I threw away the original ones. And there are still more of these available on eBay for under 30 bucks. So if you want to have the same kind of fun I did, get on eBay and order one for yourself. This has been another quick and dirty build and review, and thank you for watching. Don't sell your soul for average pussy. Well, I live just like a man should, and I did everything I could. And she cheated and lied and went behind my back and spent her last dime like a demon on crack. And she set me up for the fall, and then she blamed me for it all. And then she took out a second mortgage and signed my home away to the bank. I sold my soul for average pussy. When she walks up to you and lies to your face, telling you that you're so bad, she rips you off for $5,000 and wonders why you get so mad. When you thought you signed up for sweet romance, all you really did was sell your soul, working yourself to death for such an unremarkable hole. You sold your soul